character, Sam.
Thank you.
Very sure of himself.
He always was.
This is the first time I've ever seen you off balance.
I wasn't aware of it.
I was.
It came as a shock.
Yes, it did. To me, too. Sam will never tell. I'll never forget you saying that.
What makes you think he will?
What makes you think he won't?
How long has he been here?
He came in last night.
Did he tell you much about himself, where he's been, what he's been doing?
I thought you'd ask what he wanted.
What does he want?
He's playing it smart.
Sam was always a smart boy.
All he wanted was for me to get his girl out of jail.
His girl?
That's what he said he wanted.
What do you think he wants?
What he can get. He's a gambler, a sharpshooter, an angle boy. They come through my office by the hundreds. Couldn't you see blackmail in his eyes?
I haven't your experience with criminals.
You will. When Sammy starts to shake you down.
Release the girl. Maybe he'll just pick her up and leave.
Leave? Do you think he'll leave a touch worth millions?
There's only one way you'll find out. Release the girl. Goodbye, Miss St. John. Yes, Mr. O'Neill.
I want a routine check on a Samuel Masterson, non-resident, registered Gable Hotel. Miss St. John, close the door. I want a routine check of all garages. One of them has his car. Stay here, please. I want to check up on all local banks. Get that private detective McCarthy and tell him to come right over. Thought I might improve my mind while I waited.
Boswell's Life of John? Surely you didn't expect to wait that long.
I was just going to look at the pictures. I found your message when I got back to the hotel.
I asked you to phone.
I figured you wouldn't mind if I came in person.
I figured you would.
Why?
You impressed me this morning as a man who would bet on anything.
Almost anything, depending on the odds.
I'll bet you'd like to hear the story of my life.
What do you bet?
My story against yours.
You got a bet.
Well, let's see. You left here September 27th, 1928. We'll start from there.
The exact date? How come that's so clear in your mind?
Why shouldn't it be?
You know, I used to think this was the swellest spot in the world. But you really made it just that.
It used to be so dark and ugly when she... I hate it. Come on, I'll show you what I've done with the rest of the house.
Okay, fine. I haven't been on a rubberneck tour in years.
Soon after my aunt died, the executors of the estate wanted to close the house and send me to school. But Mr. O'Neill...
Mister? You're kind of formal about your husband, aren't you?
Oh, no, I was speaking about his father. Mr. O'Neill was my tutor. You remember him.
Oh, yeah.
After my aunt died, he and Walter lived here.
That was cozy.
This is Walter's room.
Rich. Very rich. Well, you lived here all the time then, huh?
Except for the few years I went to college. Mr. O'Neill, Walter's father. Walter's father thought it would be good for me to get away for a while.
Mr. O'Neill, Walter's father, he sort of took care of everything, didn't he?
Yes. Yes, he took care of everything.
You didn't like that?
Let's talk about something else.
What do you want to talk about?
Pick a subject. This is the dining room.
Isn't it kind of crowded? All right. I pick Walter as my subject. When did you marry him?
When or why?
I ask when.
When I finished school.
All right. Now, why did you marry him?
Pick another subject.
It's your turn.
You.
An open book. I went out of this town with the circus, the one you were supposed to go with. Made friends with the animals and lived happily ever after. Almost.
Almost?
Yeah. I got ambitious, and that tore it, but good. I got so I wasn't satisfied just being friendly with the animals. I got so I wanted to own the animals. So I bought some animals. Well, my lion got the mange and gave it to the monkeys. The animals became a responsibility and a liability. I lost all my hard-earned cash and ran like a thief out of there with a great yen to become friendly with people. On that, I had some success, me being a gambler and people being what they are. Well, that brings us up to my 21st year, when I became a man, officially.
How did it feel to become a man officially?
I felt I'd been there before. How did you feel about becoming a woman officially?
I felt I'd been there, too.
Well, this is the room that you...
Do you remember, Sam?
Do I?
It's the only room I didn't change.
It seems that only yesterday I came through that window. We were gonna run away together that night.
You do remember.
Yeah. And it was Walter who let me in.
I come here often, Sam.
Little girls grow up. They never get through playing with dolls.
There was a storm that night, thunder and lightning. I was afraid of the thunder.
Why, in the freight car that night, you told me you weren't.
I didn't want you to know. I wanted to be like you, never afraid of anything. You remember that too, don't you, Sam?
Things come back to you.
Don't say it like that, Sam. Not to make me feel good, but because it's true.
All right, it's true. We were just a couple of kids.
We're not kids now.
No, Martha, we're not kids. No time for dreams.
Only one dream, Sam. And it came true. You're here.
So is Walter.
About Walter and myself.
Don't tell me.
I want you to understand.
I understand, Martha. I understood when I saw both of you together in the office. I watched the way he looked at you. I never saw a guy so nuts about anybody in my life.
Sam, if you stay in Iverstown...
Well, I'm not staying in Iverstown.
All right, Sam, what do you want?
What do I want?
Yes, why did you come back here?
Oh, the road curved, but I didn't.
Answer me.
Hey, now, wait a minute. You sound like I have to. As a matter of fact, you sounded just like your aunt used to.
Don't say that to me. Don't ever...
Look, baby, I won't be around long enough to repeat it. As soon as a certain young lady's out of your husband's clink and my car's out of Dempsey's alleged garage, I'm headed west.
I think you really mean that.
Any objections?
No. No objections. I should have known if I remembered.
You should have known what?
You. That you'd be like this. I'm sorry. Sorry that you ever left here. Sam, for old time's sake.
Yeah. Sure, for old time's sake. Bye, Martha.
Dempsey's garage. Oh, yes, Mrs. O'Neill.
Mrs. Walter O'Neill?
Yes, ma'am. Well, it was a rush job anyway, and I'm rushed enough as it is. Don't mention it. Glad to be of service, Mrs. O'Neill. You can add this to your report. Miss O'Neill don't like this guy to go. Not yet.
All right, Dempsey, thanks.
Drink?
Thanks. There's not much to report on him locally. Out-of-town reports are still coming in. You'll have a complete file on him in a couple of hours.
What's he look like so far?
He's a big-shot gambler. Broke many times, but always turns up with a new bankroll. The police in every state have tried to find the source of his money, but no dice. Many arrests, no convictions. Beat a murder rap in Frisco. Self-defense. Has a war record few can equal.
The car in Dempsey's garage.
The ownership certificate says he owns it.
What's wrong with it?
Smashed radiator.
How long will it take to fix it? Well? Who did Dempsey get this call from?
Didn't you check that?
Yes, I checked it.
And who was it?
Mrs. O'Neill.
That's all.
Yes, Mr. O'Neill?
Get me to the county jail. I want the superintendent of the women's division. Yes?
I have the county jail for you, Mr. O'Neill. Deputy Elizabeth Baker